Good morning, Viet Cong!
That's so offensive.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Chad McCanna.
Oh my god, Chad. E3 is creeping up on our buttholes.
It's terrifying. There's so much to do.
Are you stressed out?
I think that would be an understatement, yeah.
I've got the shakes. I've got the shakes. I've got the squirts. I am just...
That sounds like a delicious smoothie breakfast.
Not so delicious, but it definitely happens at breakfast time. Yeah, I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
And I would imagine you are too. So
hey, at least we've figured out our accommodations since the last episode, so we will have a roof over our heads.
We're gonna be sleeping in on a bench, but we are putting cardboard over us, hence the roof. So
yeah, technically a roof.
Yeah, and you know what? The heat coming off the hobo urine will help warm us.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we might even be able to set up a little solar panel over the urine so that the heat rises and powers our Wi-Fi.
We can't afford solar panels, you know that.
Damn it.
At most, we can get aluminum foil.
Aluminium. Come on, let's get our British ready. We might be meeting some rare people.
Oh, yeah. We might be meeting some rare people. Well, I mean, by rare people, do you mean people that have been cooked so they're still bloody?
No, I meant people that are difficult to find. Like, I think Waldo might be there.
Oh, well, Britishisms. He's called Wally over there.
Oh, is it? So what's the woman called? Walda? Is she still Walda? Because she's Walda for us.
Wait, there's a woman?
Walla?
There's a female? Wait.
There's a whole Where's Waldo expanded universe.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Waldo did the Bruce Jenner thing and became Waldo.
No.
That's a timely reference.
Although perhaps... If there's a time machine involved in any Where's Waldo books, that might be where Walda comes from. Yeah, I was walking around the city last week, and I saw a woman dressed exactly like Walda, and I couldn't figure out an inconspicuous way to take a photo of her, but she had the red and white striped shirt, she had the blue pencil skirt with the red and white striped stockings, brown hair, glasses, the whole thing. I don't think she had the red and white stocking cap, but otherwise, I spotted Walda in the middle of the city, and I went home and looked up Walda, and just to make sure that I wasn't a crazy person, that character actually existed.
Is there a Where's Waldo wiki?
There wasn't a wiki, actually, but when I typed in Walda into Google image search, it was nothing but sexy Walda Halloween costumes.
Oh, well, that's
yeah,
par for the course. That's
right.
Lovely.
I want to see the sexy Halloween costumes for the hidden wizard in all the Where's Waldo books.
That's true. We should have a hidden wizard on DK Vine, Waldorf. We should just hide them in as many places we can.
Yeah, people are reading like I'm the Super Diddy biography, and all of a sudden there's a Waldorf popping up. What the hell is this?
We should have Waldorf from off of Conker's Pocket Tales for the uninitiated. Waldorf was the wizard boss from Crow Keep, which is a world in Conker's Pocket Tales, not the boss stage in Donkey Kong Country 2, which was Crow's Keep.
Also with a K.
Also with the K, because Rare was running out of ideas.
They were running out of letters back then, not just ideas.
It occurs to me that we have all this stuff to do before E3, and yet we're wasting time talking about Where's Waldo / Where's Wally.
Okay, I think your definition of wasting may vary, because I think this is a valuable contribution to the podcastosphere. No?
So no. I'm not even dignifying
disagreement.
Disagreement. We should have a disagreement song whenever we don't see eye to eye.
We are starting to improve our audio capabilities during recording, so we could start introducing like drops. I need to get a turkey waddle in here. So
yeah.
just at random intervals.
Maybe get a oh yeah and some fart noises.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you gotta have the fart noises. If we're really going to turn this into an excruciating morning zoo, we need to get all of those stock sound effects.
They're finally here performing for you, the Morning Zoo crew.
Jesus. Is Morning Zoo an actual thing, or is that just the shorthand for hacky drive time radio?
I imagine, and I haven't looked into this, I haven't done any research on this off-the-cuff discussion, but I would imagine that it was a show, or is a show, in Los Angeles or New York, and so it influenced all media portrayals of that kind of hacky show.
If it was from LA, I'm assuming it would have been on K-Rock, because pretty much everything in modern radio sort of originated on K-Rock back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, so they're to blame.
They might be, yeah.
It's kind of like how Fox News influences the modern GOP. Everything originates from Fox News now.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
All right. And I bet Steve Ducey got to start on K-Rock.
Yeah, it was Steve Ducey, Adam Carolla, and Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah.
Yeah. One of these things is not like the other.
What, Carolla?
Anyway, so
the other two are on television.
We don't. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Steve Ducey did all right for himself. I don't want to. I don't want Fox and Friends to target the poor little Conversation.
Right.
Actually,
yeah.
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Why would you not want that?
Because they're gonna go back in our early, like, season 1 and
Mm-hmm.
the when we were still doing really offensive humor that was based off of our Vine Donkey Kong audio program personas, when we hadn't realized that we were actually portraying this as our real selves, yet we hadn't formulated our comedy. They're gonna say these racist Donkey Kong fans are attacking the prestigious institution as Fox and Friends.
Racist Donkey Kong fans is not a phrase you hear enough these days.
It's not. We should really introduce it into the lexicon.
Well, let that be DK Vine's legacy.
If we have any legacy whatsoever, yes.
Yeah. A footnote in a phrase-oriented dictionary.
This is why I want to be cremated, because I don't want my tombstone to read, "Here lies a racist Donkey Kong fan."
It's okay. In the future, whenever you die, there will be no concept of racism. It'll just be an asshole Donkey Kong fan.
No, I mean that is true. Racism did end with Obama's election.
Oh yeah, we're like almost 8 years into the death of racism.
Actually, you know what? You know what I want when I die?
Mm-hmm.
I want a hologram, go figure, to be projected of my ghost. I want to pop out and go, woo!
Wait, why go figure?
Well, holograms. I always go with the holograms. I'm a man who loves his holograms.
You are. I was thinking you were making some Tupac reference. I was like, how did we get from Obama to Tupac? Okay.
Well, Chad, let's look at the obvious. The obvious thing that connects them both.
Mm-hmm.
They're both holograms themselves.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, we have established ourselves as racist Donkey Kong fans.
That's a shocking twist, though. Obama's really a hologram. I think that's really going to shake up season 8 of his administration.
Yeah.
That reveal.
Although his hologram was created in Hawaii.
That's true. Well, it's because Joe Biden was swimming in the waters of Hawaii, and he broke open a second Obama crate. And it was actually a Obama hologram.
Yeah, it was just the it was the first Obama hologram shimmering off the water.
It was a hard light Obama hologram.
We are getting so deep into the DK Vine headcanon clusterfuck that no one is following us at this point.
This is the episode right before we start E3 coverage. Nobody's really going to listen to this episode.
We can say whatever we want.
It's going to go up late Saturday, so you know what? Whatever. People have already given up on this episode.
This is a perfect time to introduce our new character, FedEx Pope.
And there we go with the Conan O'Brien references. I'm cutting it off there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's get through some dude illigence, also a hologram. You can call the DK Vine hotline at 1-281-410-KONG. That is 5664. We took a bunch of calls last week, but we got more calls to take this week.
Yes.
So, and more calls will be coming in, I'm sure, after this episode, although no guarantees when we'll next get to your calls because we got E3 to talk about.
Yeah, and we should also mention that the volume of calls is starting to increase, so usually, unless there's a technical problem with the audio. We've tried to play as many as we possibly can, but we're going to have to start being a little more selective, lest they take up entire episodes on a regular basis.
Yeah,
so,
as we become a bigger deal. It's never going to happen.
it's okay. It's okay. It'll be all right.
Yeah,
we have our cardboard over our heads.
Yeah, as we become a bigger deal in our cardboard fortress on the urine-soaked streets of Los Angeles.
Oh, I forgot about the urine. God damn it. I don't want to go there.
I mentioned the urine earlier. They actually don't have public restrooms in Hollywood to prevent hobos from peeing in there.
Well, there's an enormous drought sweeping the entire state. I mean, obviously they don't allow anyone to flush. It's a disgusting septic tank of a city.
Yes, but anyway, we'll be there in a week, so mazel tov.
I feel like I need to make like Bart Simpson the episode after the New Orleans musical and say like, I will not defame Los Angeles. I will not defame Los Angeles.
Well, that must have been a later season Simpsons, because I don't.
No,
really
of course,
remember.
no. That was the one. John Lovitz played the musical director, and Marge played Blanche Dubois. Remember New Orleans, dun dun dun, home of pirates, drunks, and whores.
Maybe vaguely.
Vaguely, this is like Sweet Spot. This is season 4 or 5, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember the trip to Australia where they talk smack about Australia.
No. On this New Orleans one, they have an extended multi-song musical sequence where it's just nothing but shit talking New Orleans, like brackish, overpriced souvenir stores. If you want to go to hell, you should take a trip to the spot at Matagorda on the Mississippi. And no, I haven't listened to that record or anything.
I guess my problem is I just missed that edition of the Flying Hellfish newsletter, and therefore it hasn't resonated as strongly as the other episodes.
That was a bonus issue, so I understand.
Okay,
but the episode after that, Bart's
I was trying to get us off The Simpsons.
Well, let me just bring it home. There was such a huge backlash about what they said, what their joke song was about New Orleans, that they quickly changed Bart's chalkboard gag in the next episode to be, I will not defame New Orleans.
Ah, gotcha. Well,
yeah.
Anyway, my point was being, as we become a bigger deal, where we go from homeless to sheltered by cardboard boxes, we won't be able to take as many calls, but, we'll try to take as many as we can, even though it's eventually just going to be Memechi and Scraps calls. Because for some reason, we've made a pact with Beelzebub to only take their calls.
I think the pact with Beelzebub was one of those Twilight Zone, you'll get what you wish for, and it's not that they're the only ones that call; they're the only ones we're capable of hearing. and somewhere there's a manifestation of Satan laughing at us.
We'll never know the touch of a Malik call again.
Hey guys, I'm stuck in limbo. I wish I could reach out to you.
Well, I'm sorry, Malik, but you're an unbaptized baby. You should have thought about that before dying.
Yeah, first layer of hell. You got to read your Dante.
Wait, but there's actually a difference between limbo and purgatory, which, fucking Catholic doctrines. I don't get it.
Is there? I thought they were synonymous.
No, they're not. I mean, I think you can fudge. I think it's like Donkey Kong Island versus the DK Isles. There's like a broader, category.
Oh, so it's like a rectangle and a square.
I think maybe purgatory is where the Banana Fairy Island is, but I don't really know.
All right. So
anyway,
now that we've gotten through our Catholic scholarship for the episode,
yeah. So to all of our Catholic listeners, if you have any complaints about what I just said, join the DK Vine forum at dkvine.com/forum. Now, I know every week we say there's never been a better time to join. It's like a catchphrase. If we print out T-shirts for this show, obviously we're going to have that as one of the T-shirts. But I really do believe in my heart of hearts that there's never been a better time to join.
Yeah, it's kind of the best possible time to join. We said it last episode.
I mean, this is the week. This is the week you want to do it.
Yeah.
If you've been mulling over this decision, oh, well, I don't know if they'll like me. Oh, they seem like scary folk. I really, really want to, make a good impression, but, I mean, this place has been around for 15 and a half years. I really don't see how I can fit in. Get over it. Look, if you're new, will like you. If you're halfway intelligent, and you must be wholly intelligent if you listen to this show, then yeah, join the forum. We're not gonna bite the hand that post on the forum. We're going
and check this out. We have such an awesome community on the DK Vine forum that they have taken it upon themselves to figure out how to attract lurkers in the forum to actually start posting. They have
that makes it sound like they're pedophiles who are trying to lure children into their van. But sure,
well,
whatever.
Enter the Kiwi, one of our long-term posters, has decided to give these. He's opening his windowless van doors, and the candy.
He's opening his Kiwi for those to enter it.
Right. And the candy that he's trying to give to these lurker children is so if you post in a topic in the general DKU discussion called the Lurker Contest, and at your time of posting, you have less than 5 posts, so brand new posters, he will enter you into a drawing to win a copy of Donkey Kong Land 2, the Game Boy cartridge.
What? Donkey Kong Land 2, the third best Donkey Kong Land game?
That's the one. but isn't that awesome? Like this is how cool our community is, that they would go out of their way, literally put their money and their property out there to try and attract more people, to make it a more fun environment during E3.
The Destiny community just recently raised $1 million for charity, but yeah, giving Donkey Kong Land 2 cartridges to people who join our forum, that's good too.
Yeah, we can't be bothered to donate to charity.
No, I mean, we're a charity case ourselves, so it's hard. Anyway, so
not yet, Hyle.
Oh,
what do I mean by that? Let's move on.
Foreshadowing. Call forward. Innuendo.
I was listening to the Forum Watch.
The Forum Watch was just the unofficial podcast for the DK Vine forum.
Right.
Not affiliated with DK Vine.
Not affiliated, despite we share 6 letters of our domain name.
There's only so many letters, as we've already established. It was Rare's problem too.
There's got to be only 30 or 40 letters out there.
The DK Vine Forum Watch is the Crow Keep from off of Conker's Pocket Tales to our Crow's Keep from off of Donkey Kong Country 2.
That's right. We get the possessive apostrophe. Anyway, they called me out for my occasional ribbing of their host Saf's innuendo and callback.
I do it too, though. I do it too.
Yeah, but they zeroed in on me. Apparently, I'm the one who is who is dragging them in the mud over this one. But anyway, I'm still going to do it because I like doing it.
All right. Well, I do too. I mean, we've appropriated it as a conversation joke, so it's ours now. Possession is 9/10 of the law, or so I've heard from.
And every time we say it, we possess it. I think that's how audio works.
That's also how Satan works with his demons, because they possess. Anyway, and
we're all over social media, by the way.
We're all over social. I was going to say though, this is the week to join, because the week leading into E3. There's literally never been a better time to join. The rumor mill is already churning for E3. That's a lie. People are just making up bullshit. But
right. Well, I'll tell you this: the week after E3, we'll probably still say it's never been a better time to join, but that will be a lie, because the better time to join was right now. That's true.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever retract that statement.
The better time to join is right now.
I don't know, but I'm sure, at the week after E3, we'll never say we were just joking. It's not a lie. I'm sure we'll stand by what we say right now.
Sure. But we just want to tell you that despite what we say in the future, we may be liars then, but we're not now.
No. We always speak the truth.
That's right.
Like Obama is a hologram.
Mm-hmm. So let's keep it going.
We're all over social media, as you just said. We're on the Facebooks, we're on the Twitters, we're on the Tumblrs, we're on the YouTubes, we're on the Instagrams. Mm-hmm. And you know what? How do you find us on any of those places? Well, I'm glad you asked. You go to dkvine.com/Facebook, /Twitter, /Tumblr, /YouTube, /Instagram.
I think it's adorable how you said / on all of those things.
It's an Alistair Craigism I've picked up, because Alistair Craig will always say /
Yeah,
as a joke, but it's still.
I like when we pick up Australia-isms from some of our friends south of the equator, like Steph Scrap 69. He'll say, like, instead of 2015, he'll say 215.
And instead of African Americans, he says dark lads.
Oh Jesus, let's not.
Well, actually, he uses that for all Africans, not just African Americans. But
that is such a. All right, moving along.
I know it's terribly offensive. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's very infectious. I mean, you do want to say dark lads.
Maybe dark is just how he pronounces A. Dark lads.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Australians are a lot more racist than I thought they were.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we're talking about racist Australians in the same breath as Alistair Craig, who could not. He doesn't have like an offensive bone in his body. He is the most polite.
Alistair Craig is the nicest man alive. It's you're disappointed with yourself after talking to Alistair.
Yeah, not even like at length. He could just say hello, and you realize, oh, I probably should have said hello sooner. He's so nice.
I don't say hello enough.
Yeah. I'm reevaluating myself. Thanks,
and when
Alistair.
I say hello, I don't really mean it like he does.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know why he says hello. I say goodbye.
Oh, thanks for the Beatles reference. Anyway,
doing what I can.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Kongversation on iTunes. Also, give us a rating, preferably 5 stars. If you're not going to give us a 5-star rating, don't be bothered. There's There's your other Beatles reference.
Number two.
That makes number 3. Ugh. So anyway, in conclusion, tell your friends about the show, the Kongversation. Mm-hmm. If you think they like it, if you think they don't like it, just tell them about it. Make it an urban legend. Much like the Batman, eventually the show will be broadcast from the top of police headquarters in the sky.
Yeah, they'll just show the waveform against a low-hanging cloud.
And criminals will look up in the sky and say, not tonight.
I'm going back indoors to listen to Giant Bomb.
Actually, instead of criminals, maybe it'd be like Mario fans, like Mario diehards, who thought Tropical Freeze was overrated compared to New Super Mario Brothers Wii U.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not playing games tonight.
They're going out there to spread their bear propaganda. They look up in the sky.
That would make Mario Wiki our Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, basically. Although, hey, for an insane asylum, they do often have a lot of great high-res screenshots for recent games.
They do. They do. That's where our taxpayer money's going.
That's right.
All right. Well, as we have mentioned probably half a dozen times already, we're going to E3.
Yep.
And that's going to be in a week. Oh my God! I mean, where does the time go? Like
hey, man,
sand through an hourglass, right, Chad?
That's a reference to a soap opera. A soap opera.
Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives. Yay!
That's a show that also had a woman possessed.
Well, it was a soap opera. Don't they do those every single day? I'm sure they've had multiple possession storylines.
This was the first one.
I think that would be a fun job to be a writer for a soap opera.
It would be the best fucking job in the world.
You could go because not only are you writing something that not a lot of like quality oversight typically goes into, but you're writing it to be disposable, so you can just go crazy.
See, here's 2 writing jobs that if you actually had complete creative control would be so much fun: writing soap operas and writing professional wrestling. I
think that probably Dark Shadows came from someone who approached a soap opera with our mentality.
Yeah, Dark Shadows, and then in the 90s there was also Days of Our Lives, that the possession storyline, and like they just went batshit insane, and they got huge ratings for it. So then NBC created a new soap opera called Passions, and they had like an evil dwarf and a witch and
what?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Oh, I've never heard of Passions, but it's the perfect non-descriptive title for a soap opera.
So, ideally, I think we really need to spin this whole DK Vine empire into us eventually writing a soap opera. How many Emmy Award winners write soap operas besides daytime Emmy winners?
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're going to qualify with daytime, you should probably also qualify with regional student.
Hey, man. It was still an Emmy.
Yeah. And hey, man, we're going to be in L.A. next week.
Hey, man, L.A. Hyle and Chad back in L.A. What has ever gone wrong for us in Los Angeles?
Not a damn thing. This is going to go great.
So should I have Joe on speed dial to fill in for one of us when we eventually break up?
Now, maybe we'll just bring Sam back into the mix. We'll find him.
We'll find Sam. We'll search every gutter in Los Angeles.
He's got to be in a gutter somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, we might be living in a gutter next to him. No, we're looking forward to this, but despite our joshing around of the massive responsibilities we're bearing on our shoulders, and by responsibilities we mean silly DK Vine bullshit. These are seriously first world problems we're having, but it is stressful when we're the two editors in chief of a comedy Donkey Kong universe fan site, and E3 is actually can be very stressful because there's certain expectations to be had of you.
Right. Well, we've always been viewing it from afar, and there's generally the sort of dry, samey news reporting and stuff, but I don't think either of us have any interest in doing that. Hence, I tweeted a picture of one of the props that we're going to be bringing to the show, which is a poster.
Oh, I put that on Facebook too.
Oh, great! A poster for which Brothers Bear is best, and we won't quite give you exactly what we intend to do with that, but that should be an indication of where our minds are for this event.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same sort of stuff you see on IGN, on Game Explain.
No, we are out there to get actually news, like news that matters to you, the Donkey Kong Universe fan and the Rare fan. We're actually going to be doing some journalistic scooping around, but we are also going to be there to kind of take the piss out of the event a little bit.
Right. We're going to piss in our 2 scoops of raisins.
What?
We're going to be scooping around, but we're also going to be taking the piss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're going to have a cereal bowl full of urine and bran.
So that's not a sun, that's just a big ball of urine in the sky.
That's exactly right. Well, it's in space, so liquids will form into a sphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So basically what you're saying is urine can keep us warm.
That's right. Yeah,
wow.
as long as there's enough urine that its own internal mass will force it to instigate hydrogen fusion at its center, then yes.
Wow, this is boring, Mr. Wizard. I don't care about science.
At least Mr. Wizard had flying shopping carts. I don't have any of that.
Wait, what?
In the intro credits to Mr. Wizard.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you confusing Mr. Wizard with something from Harry Potter? Because I assumed they had flying shopping carts in Harry Potter.
Yeah, they probably do.
To teach the kids how best to buy all Harry Potter merchandise.
That's the witches only class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
they're the ones going to be pushing the shopping trolley. Because Harry Potter is an incredibly backwards, misogynist society.
Got it. All right. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I got it. I guessed. And I wasn't sure. You're right. All right. So anyway,
Dumbledore is the figurehead of the Hogwarts patriarchy. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, E3 is coming. We're excited. So stick with DK Vine. Stick with us. We're going to be out there. Meanwhile, back at DK Vine headquarters, we've got Matt, we've got Cameron, we've got Jeff, we've got Joe, we've got Nick Prohl, aka Spuzzwick. They're all going to be manning the hatches, and also Helmos is going to be at the show, so we're going to be able to meet up with him.
Yeah, we're going to get to sync up with, he last we heard he was kind of like a disembodied spirit haunting the purgatory that is Los Angeles, right?
He's still haunting it. I hope we'll be able to see him. Otherwise, he'll just have to possess one of us, like on Days of Our Lives.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
I feel fairly confident that Helmast will find his way into the mix in some form or another.
Yeah, I mean, how could it be E3 without Helmast?
He is our happy-go-lucky correspondent.
Yes, much better than Dick Cheney, who was our correspondent in the mid-aughts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was Dick Cheney? I thought that was Burgess Meredith. E3, quagmire.
And I mentioned earlier that rumors are already starting to churn. I just have to mention this because this is not worthy of discussing in the proper topic of the show itself. But there's already people creating fake E3 leaks because this is the world we live in now.
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with the internet?
And somebody said that typed up Nintendo's whole presentation, their whole Nintendo Direct, as if the script of the Direct leaked, as if that's something that could actually happen.
Nintendo often writes its internal marketing documents on Google Drive. So sometimes they forget to make it share only.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes they CC it to everybody.
Yeah, there was someone plunking away at that, and then they looked up in the corner. Oh my God, anonymous aardvark has viewed my document.
Anyway, so one of the rumors was that they said that the Direct starts with Reggie and Iwata playing Star Fox.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, so because the last Direct started with Reggie and Iwata pimping Smash Brothers, obviously it has to start with them again. Like, the lack of originality is shocking, and yet
let's hey, if the shoe fits.
Well, but anyway, they also mentioned that there's going to be a sequel to DK King of Swing and DK Jungle Climber.
I wonder if there's like a checklist. I'm sorry, go ahead. What was it called?
Was it DK Jungle Curse?
Yes. It was. Yeah, there was a curse. I feel like anyone who's coming up with a with a fake rumor now has a checklist. They need to come up with there's got to be a ratio of boring to insane items, that's been studied over time. Like, for every 3 boring ho-hum items, you have to have 1 anime title, and then you have to have 1 just like batshit crazy reappropriation of a series that has been dormant for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because otherwise no one's gonna believe it. But these are all completely unsubstantiated. There's no way.
I've got the actual quote here, and it's worth reading just for the comedy value. All right. DK Curse of the Jungle gets announced for Nintendo 3DS with a first trailer. It's a sequel to DK King of Swing and DK Jungle Climber. The player hunts King K. Rool, who has stolen the DK coins, through different worlds with challenging levels when the game launches in November.
Well, it's a sequel to a game no one remembers existing. Except for, I guess, King of Swing being on the Virtual Console.
That's not a November release. That's like a mid-April release.
That's a winter shitfuck or a summer swamp ass release.
Yeah, it's precious. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I would love to see a new pegging game, but it's probably not going to happen. So
right. I would adore if that turned out to be real and we got to E3 and this strange pegging game was the one pure Donkey Kong entry this year. I would be fine with that. That would be a lot of fun.
I would ideally like to see it alongside Diddy Kong Racing Wii U. # I believe in Kevin Callahan. But,
no one's using that hashtag.
I am.
Yeah.
Are you saying I'm no one?
I might have used it once.
There you go. It's trending.
Yeah.
It's starting to trend.
Yeah. It's Bruce Jenner and then that.
Caitlyn Jenner.
I'm sorry, Caitlyn Jenner.
Bye, Bruce.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
So, is that a real hashtag, really?
I'm going to give it the trend after this episode.
Bye, Brucey.
Bye, Brucey, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we better take these calls because I don't know next time we're going to be able to take calls, right?
It's going to be a while. Let's give it a listen.
All right.
Hi, Chad and Hyle, or whatever guest star you've got on this week. It's Matt Jonas, or Captain Neckbeard, off the forum, here with a hypothetical question. Nintendo releases Splatoon to huge success and sales, So they decide they're going to give one of their franchises the multiplayer shooter treatment. It's Donkey Kong Guerrilla Warfare for the Nintendo Wii U. What kind of things would you like to see in a Donkey Kong third-person deathmatch shooter? You know, weapons, mounts, arenas. Who out of Nintendo's current set of development teams would be best for this kind of game? I think a game like this could have a huge chance of being a real idea Nintendo would consider, so exploring this theme should be entertaining. I look forward to hearing what your ideas are. And next time when you credit me on the show, please don't call me Matt Jones. Call me Matt Jonas, please. You know, even Donkey Kong got my name right. Well, I asked him if he knew what my name was, and he went, yeah. And I thanked him, and he said, okay. Actually, I'm not sure if he even understood what I was saying.
All right. Thank
he
you.
He never talked to Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that sounds like a lie. That sounds like a downright fib.
Yeah.
We are going.
What do we call him, Matt Jones?
I don't remember that, but I think it might have been he might have called in through traditional means. This was obviously a more clear audio. Did he submit this via email or?
He actually trained a parrot, and then he sent the parrot, and the parrot arrived at DK Vine Studios.
Oh, okay. Though that explains why we were getting screamed at to go to the tag barrels. Black.
We walked down a long hallway after that, and then we found the tag barrels. We had to fight. We had to fight off 3 Casplats along the way.
I listened to that, and man, I got pissed off about those hallways.
You did, and man, YouTube commenters got pissed off at us for not liking the game.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? That's what happens when you have opinions about things. Matt Jonas, thank you for the call. I honestly, I feel like, I mean, I know it's poor decorum, but I would kind of reject the premise of the question. I feel like I like that Nintendo had an idea for a Team Fortress style third-person online multiplayer shooter. And made a new IP.
Here's the reason I'm a little butthurt about it.
Why is that?
From the Donkey Kong zealot in my bones. Actually, a little bit before Splatoon, somebody had the idea on the DK Vine forum about a Mario paintball game. And I don't know if it was me or somebody else who said, probably somebody else, and I just really liked the idea, so I claimed it as my own. I said that, well, Mario's got all these other sports games covered. Why don't you give the paintball idea or some similar variation of it to Donkey Kong? And that can be Donkey Kong's big sports IP title. And it's not out of the realm of impossibility because Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong characters have used guns and weapons in games before, much more so than Mario. So I thought, well, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but do you really want to associate the use of weapons as a key mechanic with the Donkey Kong series? I mean, I feel like that was one of the worst elements of DK64.
I don't have a problem with it. I think that's a nut that's already been cracked, or a peanut that's already been popped, because Diddy's now forever linked with peanut pop guns, and now Dixie has her bubblegum gun.
Bubblegum shooter, yeah.
Yeah, bubblegum blaster, or whatever it's called. Bazooka Joe Bazooka.
Yeah. The copyright infringing Donkey Kong weapon. Although, does Bazooka Joe exist anymore?
It does exist. I'm pretty sure it existed, but they reduced the size of it, or they changed something about it. Maybe they ended the comics inside of Bazooka Joe. Those hilarious comics.
Oh yeah, I actually, there was one that I liked that I kept around for some reason. I was going through when we moved to New York. I was going through all my old bags to make sure which ones I needed to keep, which I didn't, and I found. Had to be a 2-decade-old Bazooka Joe comic that has just that has carried with me throughout the years, and it was so apparently there's this character. He's like the Goofus from highlights of the Bazooka Joe world. His name is Mort, I think. This was a while back, but basically Mort put on 2 pairs of 3D glasses so he could see in 6 dimensions. Isn't that great? Because 3 plus 3 is 6. Yeah. So that was a Bazooka Joe comic that, for some reason, I saw fit to carry with me for 2 decades.
I'm gonna have to just drop out of this show because there's nothing I could say that'll top that.
Yeah, it's only downhill from here. So
anyway, no, I don't think like the cartoony guns that shoot fruit and whatnot are inherently a problem. It's not like Donkey Kong 64 endorsed by the NRA. Okay, it's not like that.
It was originally.
Well, originally, but I think that was just Rare pushing their luck, and plus Rare's British; they don't have a gun culture over there, so it's not made with the same intent. Americans can take it how they want, but
well, I hear that their new PM is a big fan of fox hunting.
No, really.
Yeah, I think so. I get most of
their new PM, David Cameron, was reelected.
Who is their old PM? Yeah, new boss, same as the old boss, which is also
well, that doesn't count.
Well,
like
okay,
that quote only applies if the new boss is acting the same as the old boss, not if he's literally the. Actually, I don't really know what.
I don't. Yeah. What the hell was Pete Townsend talking about?
All I know is that every election in this country, somebody uses that as their campaign theme song because it's so original.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, it's better than John McCain's "Bomb Iran."
That wasn't actually his theme song.
where he repurposed the Beach Boys. Yeah,
that was just him riffing, being spontaneous, being a whimsical old man.
Yeah, because nothing says I want to potentially cause mass societal collapse and death and destruction for millions by reappropriating a poppy 60s hit.
Well, he's a big admirer of Brian Wilson, and like Brian Wilson, he eventually went insane trying to keep up with his slightly more talented rival.
That's kind of exactly what happened to him, isn't it?
Obama was composing Sgt. Pepper on the campaign trail.
Right.
Brian Wilson, I'm sorry, John McCain was trying to, get Smile out to the masses, and eventually he suspended Smile and, skipped town, and
God only knows where we'd be with a McCain presidency.
I guess that makes Mike love Sarah Palin.
What? Do you have any ideas for this Splatoon-style Donkey Kong game?
I think obviously use the weapons that are in the games themselves. You have the coconut gun, you have the peanut pop guns, you have the Bazooka Joe bazooka. Just use all of the guns from Donkey Kong 64, Tropical Freeze, invent new ones. You have a large cast with Donkey Kong, and you could really utilize that. I mean, Barrel Blast, for all of its faults, at least had a fun cast, but it didn't go deep enough. It invented all new Kremlins besides K. Rool and some drones rather than. And I like that. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you could bring in Crunch, you could bring in Clubba, you could bring in so many classic characters that only we remember, and
Hogwash.
You could have the Brothers Bear. I think Bazooka Bear, not the gum, the bear. He would be well suited to a military style game like that.
I think that Blunder Bear with his spinning bow tie, if you put razor blades on that thing, that's a melee weapon.
So you're saying Blunder Bear is best for a game like this?
Blunder Bear might be the best for a game like this. Yeah.
That's the first time Blunder Bear has ever been the best for anything.
Yeah.
He's literally, in my opinion, the most worthless Brother Bear.
Wait. Hang on, isn't Blunder Bear the one who accidentally tells you where the Lost World is?
Yeah, but you can.
There's literally no way to figure out how to get to the Lost World in DKC3 unless you talk to him.
Well, if you do it before you talk to him, he says you probably looked in the official Nintendo Player's Guide.
Does he really call out like official Nintendo players?
He says something about the official Player's Guide. Yeah.
Okay. Does he say Nintendo?
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, then that's some explaining we got to do. Much like Lucy trying to get in the show.
Well, they always break the fourth wall in Donkey Kong games. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just... But referencing a player's manual in the middle of an adventure, that seems...
That's something that Cranky would do, though.
Yeah, but the brothers... Okay, I always kind of assumed that, among the Kongs, Cranky was imbued with this sort of sense... he had a greater sense of the fourth wall because of his history in the arcade.
Or because of dementia.
Yeah, it's not real. He's just going gradually insane.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so anyway...
Yeah, I apologize, Matt Jonas. I really feel like for this sort of genre, I would much rather see...
You're saying is you prefer the new IP of Splatoon, and you rather they just build the Splatoon brand over reappropriating it for Donkey Kong.
Exactly.
You don't think there could be a Diddy Kong Racing to Splatoon's Mario Kart, where Donkey Kong does a similar take on it, but does it in its own unique way?
No, I'm sure there could, but now I feel like from what I've heard, and granted, we just talked about how fucking crazy E3 is, so we haven't had a chance to play it yet. Everything I've heard says Splatoon is phenomenal.
The DK Vine staff is raving about Splatoon, and they're saying, "Hey, Hyle, hey, Chad, have you played it?" And we're like, "How? We don't have time."
Yeah, I was busy creating the new DK Vine logo that everyone hates. Come on, there's no time for Splatoon.
I'm busy chronicling what happens to Helmos next.
What do you mean chronicling?
Well, somebody has to transcribe the events that are happening in Helmos.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's relaying them to me. Yeah.
You're just a casual observer. You're not dictating these or anything.
I'm his official biographer. Yes.
There's a thread on the DK Vine forum about the lore of DK Vine, and people are coming in like, oh, well, sometimes it pisses me off, like their prosthetic golfing fingers or all the holograms. And
how does prosthetic golfing fingers piss you off when it's such a a clear piss take? I mean, it's
but then someone stepped in and said, oh no, that's DKU lore from DK Vine. I'm talking about DK Vine lore, and there's a whole other backstory and continuity and subset of weird storylines that DK Vine has amassed over the last decade and a half.
And surprisingly, it's all consistent.
It's incredibly internally consistent. Yeah, it might not necessarily jibe with reality, but it's certainly internally consistent.
I know I've made a lot of jokes about Obama being a hologram. That's not true. Did you know though that Obama is actually an evolved form of our friend?
Yeah, and I believe didn't he uppercutted Miyamoto's spine out on Final Destination a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, but I forget what the deal with that was. Somehow Miyamoto got better, or that was a Miyamoto robot that had
probably a robot.
But anyway, yeah, Miyamoto got better. But yes, Barack Obama is actually our friend. So was he born in this country? That's not the question you should be asking Republicans. Mm-hmm. It's actually, is he a human being, or is he an old man soul trapped in a digital camera evolved into the first black president?
I don't know that there's anything that the framers of the Constitution anticipated about an old man's spirit trapped in the body of a digital camera.
And that's why it's foolproof. That's why they can't get him out of office.
They did some digging, and they didn't find their Hawaiian birth certificate. But what they did find, there was no precedent for in the Constitution.
So, hey, Steve Ducey, take that to Fox and Friends.
Yeah. On that day, John Boehner turned from orange to red.
Anyway, so yeah, thanks for the parrot, Matt Jonas, the sent parrot telegram. But I would like to see it. I think Chad's being the contrarian here. I would like to see anything Donkey Kong related that's of quality. So I'm excited about it.
Hey, Chad and Hyle, it's MF Wolf here, and I just wanted to ask you about what your feelings are on the similarities between Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee. Now, of course, Yooka-Laylee is supposed to be the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, so a lot of the same DNA is going to be there. But do you think there's ever going to be a point where it's too similar, or maybe not similar enough for your liking? I was listening to an interview that everyone from Playtonic was doing. I think it might have been with Game Explain, and they said something to the effect of like, oh man, it would be cool if the villain rhymed. And as I was thinking about it, it was maybe it would be cool, but it seems a little bit too obvious of a callback to Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm not sure I would have appreciated it as much as if the villain did something completely different. Now, the speculation is also over a year before the game actually comes out, so it could be that the villain has a perfectly good reason to rhyme. It's just that, as I see it right now, that's like a weird, unnecessary callback to Banjo-Kazooie. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, thank you, MF Wolf. I sort of agree that, while it is nice to have those certain nostalgic touchstones, I think that too many of them and going too far in it would really not only box in the creative process for Playtonic, but it would prevent us from getting able to see the new things that they're capable of creating. So
the thing is, obviously you want to sell the game right now as, hey, more of that Banjo-Kazooie gameplay you love but haven't been able to get since 2000. But ultimately, Yooka-Laylee, if Playtonic is going to be a viable company, and yes, I'm giving Playtonic advice on how to be successful. Clearly, they need it, but no.
Word to any Playtonic members listening: don't heed our advice.
Right? Yeah, we've been toiling away for over 15 years on a fucking fan site, so clearly, we don't know what we're talking about. But no, I mean, I would want Yooka-Laylee to eventually be spoken of on its own merits rather than being an also ran to Banjo-Kazooie. Now, granted, it's a great, solid foundation that they're building on, which is we're giving you guys the third Banjo-Kazooie game that you never got, to this point. But I think Playtonic wants Yooka-Laylee to eventually be mentioned on its own rather than just being, and that other Banjo game that's not a Banjo game.
I like what they've done specifically with the Ghost Riders, which I don't think we've touched on that much on the show since we were mired in DK64 stuff when that was mentioned for the first time.
We're going to get into the Ghost Riders in a little bit here. So,
yeah, but I think it's a perfect example because basically, in a nutshell, the Ghost Riders are the Jinjo XPs of this game. Hey, I'm using that term now. Now that I learned it.
Well, I think, what is it? Once you use a term like 10 times or you hear a term 10 times, you'll start incorporating it into your natural dialogue.
I think it's once you have listened, once you have repeatedly said a phrase 10,000 times, you become a master of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the ratio. It's a reference to some principle. I forget what it's called. Anyway.
Belding?
Yes. He is a principal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he gets along with his students.
He really was a weird pal to all of those teenagers.
If I was a parent of a child at Bayside, I would not want Belding as the figurehead.
I would come into Bayside and be like, hey, what is going on here? Which is something Belding always said.
Right. Oh, you mean if you were a parent, you would say that.
Yeah. As I walk into Mr. Belding slipping his Dennis Haskins into Screech.
Yeah, and then all of the students that you didn't see that Belding had untoward relationships with would hear that catchphrase and like duck into their lockers, try not to be seen. They would like have a PTSD reaction. That's
what happened to Tori.
Oh, poor Tori with the jeans jacket.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wait, did she have? Jessie had a jeans jacket. Tori had the leather jacket.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking in my head it was leather, but then I was like, no, wait, is that Pinky Tuscadero? But she also had a leather jacket.
That's a whole nother crappy sitcom.
They really all were crappy, weren't they? As imprinted as they are on my brain.
Yeah. Anyway. Sorry. That was a tangent. MF Wolf. I apologize. I hope
he loves it. He's licking it up. He loves it.
I hope it doesn't cause his multiple sclerosis to act up.
Right.
Every time we go on a tangent, he just twitches and falls to the floor.
Yeah, he'll be a disgraced president by the time this episode's over.
Jesus.
Call back. So I like what they're doing with the Ghost Riders. They're basically it's a similar mechanic to the Jinjos, but they're advancing it. And because they can't just use Jinjos for legal reasons, they've created these new characters that sort of serve a same but evolved purpose. But doing something like the rhyming that really doesn't push anything, it doesn't serve any purpose other than a reference. I hope they shy away from those sorts of things.
Yeah, I really want something new to be said with the characters, at least, and so far
by the characters.
And by the characters. So far from what we've seen, from what little we've seen of the cast and the extended cast, thankfully they don't seem too similar to anything from the Banjo-verse, but
right.
I think a rhyming villain, maybe if a villain rhymes just once as a subtle little reference to Gruntilda, but not have that be the whole villain shtick, that would be fine.
Right. I would imagine if we do see anything like that would be the way they do it. It would be a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing and now we're moving on.
Exactly. So I'm not too worried about it. I know I said last time or at some point that maybe on the Yooka-Laylee episode that we recently did, that I was surprised how closely Yooka-Laylee follows the Banjo template, like so much so that even the name is obviously a reference to Banjo-Kazooie. But ultimately, from what I've seen since then, I'm more and more confident that it's going to be its own thing. So I'm not too worried.
And I can understand the name strictly for branding purposes, which is very important in a Kickstarter campaign.
Absolutely.
So, that might have, regardless of the fact that it's cute and clever and Yooka and Laylee serve very well as names, it's also, it definitely aids that nostalgia factor that is very important when trying to get funding.
And from here, Playtonic can start doing their own concepts that aren't really derivative of Rare. And they're always going to be a little derivative of Rare because these are all Rare guys.
Yeah,
it's Andy Robinson, but
that's like saying that, you're derivative of yourself. That's like, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was derivative of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like,
actually, that was the least derivative Indiana Jones movie, as far as referencing itself. I mean,
okay, fair enough. Maybe a bad example, but at least
they never even went to the university, which is what I love about it. It starts in media res, and it just never lets up. Like there's never that point where he goes back home and he gets his marching orders and he flies in a plane. No, he escapes in a plane and he crash lands in India, and it's an underrated movie and it's full of racist humor, which I love.
We'll still never know what happened to Mohan.
Anyway.
I say Dan Aykroyd orchestrated Mohan's death.
Dan,
that's my Temple of Doom headcanon.
I know we've referenced this, but it's so weird that Dan Aykroyd's in the movie in that blink and you'll miss it cameo.
Yeah, there's no close up. It's all from a wide shot, a single wide tracking shot, and he even gives himself a name. Here, I'm R. Weber. It's like, did George Lucas just want to make an action figure out of Dan Aykroyd for this movie?
You think if Dan Aykroyd would help Indiana Jones with any of his expeditions, it would be the one with the aliens.
They were ancient, after all.
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a wingnut, that Dan Aykroyd.
Is that? I mean, a wingnut that refers more to politics now. I mean, I don't think he's a wingnut. He's just he definitely believes in some new agey concepts.
Oh, okay, I thought wingnut just meant crazy person in general. I didn't know it was steeped in political.
Wingnut is basically extreme, somebody on the extreme right now.
Oh, I just thought it was like saying someone has a screw loose. We like
it used to be back in the day, but it's been politicized now, and I forget what the equivalent term of somebody on the left is. But wingnut is definitely a very, very right-leaning, crazy person who thinks that the federal government is going to take over Texas with Jade Helm.
Oh, yeah, well, they've got that huge military presence on the border, doing military exercises. So they're definitely going to take over Texas.
Yes, Obama really wants to take over Texas because it's not like Texas isn't already part of the United States.
I think it's so adorable that the governor of Texas tried to threaten the federal government with the Texas what the whatever the Texas State Guard is, they have their own like small military force, but the U.S. military would just squash them like a bug. What?
And Chuck Norris came out like saying, maybe we shouldn't trust the federal government, guys. And so that really makes me want to see like a new Walker Texas Ranger episode where Walker takes on the feds.
Yeah, he goes rogue.
He roundhouse kicks Obama.
Yeah. When the Constitution's being threatened, that's where the Ranger's gonna be.
I mean, if they can bring the X-Files back for 6 episodes, surely there's a Walker Texas Ranger miniseries in there somewhere.
Oh my! And if they did it, they would have to get like all of the original cast, including the guy CD who owned the bar, who's
more than likely dead by now. Yeah.
Yeah.
they'll just exhume they'll stuff his corpse and just have it on display.
It'll be like a Weekend at Bernie's thing. It'll be like him and his deputy, the black guy, and then the lady the lady cop that he ultimately married, which wasn't sexist at all.
She was gunned down at the end of the TV movie that came after the series.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah, and I think it was supposed to be a cliffhanger that they never resolved. But yeah, they just basically killed her at the end. The very end of Walker Texas Ranger canon, she got shot.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful. I had no idea that Walker ended on such a dark note, aside from Haley Joel Osment having AIDS.
Yeah, did you know that Walker Texas Ranger also spawned a spinoff called Sons of Thunder?
I did not.
Yeah,
Tell me about Sons of Thunder.
They introduced these 2 guys that like started palling around Walker. They're like martial arts instructors, and they eventually got their own spinoff that lasted half a season called Sons of Thunder.
I remember those guys. Oh shit!
Wait! You actually watched Walker?
Yeah, like ironically, but no,
I mean, you were in Texas, so every time you looked behind you, it was there.
It was on. It was always on. Doesn't matter. You're in the supermarket. You're at a barber shop. You look behind you. That's where the Ranger's going to be. The eyes of the Ranger were always upon us.
I love that Chuck Norris sang that theme song too. It's like well, if Kelsey Grammer can sing tossed salads and scrambled eggs, surely I can sing Eyes of the Ranger.
Yeah, and if you look at the credits, it's like performed by Chuck Norris, music and lyrics by Aaron Norris or something like that.
Yeah. It's like the Frank Stallone to his.
Yeah. The Walker intro was his "Staying Alive."
Oh my God!
Deep pull, Frank Stallone references. God, MF Wolf, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right. We really answered that question for you. All
right, next one.
Next call.
Hello, Chad. Hello, Hyle. This is Thingster. First time calling into the conversation. Apparently, my previous call dropped. Thank you, AT&T. I've been on and off the forum over the years, ever since the bongo drum days, where people were very bitter and angry. Then I finally started posting more frequently when Tropical Freeze was released, and people were much happier. I personally didn't change much. I'm still very bitter and angry, but I largely credit that to being in college those years and my roommates exposing me to episodes of The Big Bang Theory and Flava Flav's Flavor of Love. But that's beside the point, because I'm here to discuss a tidbit about Yooka-Laylee. I am looking at the Kickstarter page right now. Obviously, it's doing extremely well still. People have forgotten all about the Nepal earthquake, but the important thing is they're still donating the Yooka-Laylee, so it's all good. The detail I wanted to discuss is the arcade games, and reading here off the site it says, each world hides at least one secret arcade game encasing old-school gaming goodness. What are we thinking these could be? I think there's a number of possibilities, and the most obvious thing that people are discussing is something like the Klungo games in Nuts and Bolts. Say what you will about the rest of Nuts and Bolts, but those were easily my favorite parts of the game. But it also says at least one per stage, which makes me think that it could be a little more varied than that. And my other theory is just like how Yooka-Laylee as a whole is an homage to Banjo-Kazooie, perhaps these arcade games could be homages to other classics that the development team members have worked on, like Battletoads or, Donkey Kong Country. I'm honestly not sure who specifically worked on what, but what do you guys think?
Well, I that's honestly one of the Kickstarter rewards, and by the way, thank you for the call, Thingster, that I had kind of forgotten about in the midst of everything else.
Yeah, I actually never even picked up on that.
Yeah, it's I
I mean, I read it. I know I remember
Yeah.
reading it, but it never like stuck in my brain because I was too busy looking at everything else. I think too focused on like making sure I got my N64 cartridge.
Right. Even though the poster is the far superior stretch goal or reward.
Says you and nobody else.
Yeah, it says me and like 8 of my closest friends.
I think they've literally like I haven't checked in a while, but I'm pretty sure it's still only at 8 people having signed up for that.
Man.
While they've gone through like 3 or 4 of the N64 cartridge options.
I recently I had a Twitter exchange with Ed Bryan, now of Nosy Crow.
You name dropping bastard.
Hey, yeah, it's Twitter. We're really close. But we're talking about the signed character photos, and he took a picture of his Banjo-Kazooie one, and I was showing off basically the giant cast montage dumps that we've done, similar to the Tooie one. On DK Vine, we've done them for... Matt did one for DK64. I did one for Diddy Kong Racing and Banjo-Kazooie. I asked if the BK one was anything like this, and I showed him a picture. And he said no, it was actually more traditional render with just the central cast, Mumbo, BK, Grunty, and a Jinjo. But I love that they cared so much about their characters that they would do that and sign them. And I want the Yooka-Laylee version of that. So I regret nothing.
That's fair enough. And, eventually I'll see a picture of it. So, that's all I really care about. That I can still get off to it. It's not like, I need an actual signed copy myself to masturbate to it.
Oh, I'll be masturbating to it. I need the tactile, physical interaction.
Well, just take a picture of it before it gets all stained. All right.
Oh, no, I'll laminate it first. Don't worry.
Yeah, but still, anyway,
I don't have acidic semen, Hyle.
I just pictured it'd be like Jurassic Park, the spit just eating right through Newman.
Ooh, I'm so excited because, Thursday night, man. Thursday night. Woo! Jurassic World. Aren't you excited about this?
I mean, it's cool. It's cool that there's a big budget Jurassic Park sequel back in theaters. I guess
that doesn't seem like it's just a rehash of everything that's come before. Like it seems like they're actually doing it. They have a reason for this to exist. It's the same thing we were talking about last episode or 2 episodes ago. DK64 versus Banjo-Tooie. I feel like DK64 is the Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic World seems to be the Banjo-Tooie. It has a mission statement. It has a reason for being.
If you say so.
That's what I've read the interviews with Colin Trevorrow. I've tried to stay relatively spoiler free, but it seems like they're approaching it in a very intelligent way. So whereas with the X-Files, I don't even want to hear about it. I know it's going to be a clusterfuck. With Jurassic Park, I'm cautiously optimistic. And I
don't know. There's a rumor that they're doing a sequel to Home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the
Peacock
infamous,
family.
Yeah, the infamous season 5.
Season 4.
No, it was season 5. If it was
season
anything.
4. It was season.
There's no way Home was season 4. Really?
Yeah, because it was written by Morgan and Wong, and that's when they came back to the show in season 4. In season 5, they were show running Millennium season 2.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just looked it up in season 4, episode 2. Damn. I thought that was one of the kind of strange, dark departures where they got kind of experimental in season 5 and 6.
No, that was season 4, and it was it was the only episode of the X-Files to have a TV MA rating.
Yeah, that's right, because of the crying baby. If you listen to the commentary for that episode, which I did, which I have done and logged into my memory because there's nothing better that I could put there. In the cold open to Home, the Peacock family takes the recently born inbred baby and buries it in a baseball diamond. Very cheerful episode. But
just like a Kevin Costner movie. All the best Kevin Costner movies start with him burying an inbred, unborn baby in his baseball diamond.
Yeah, if you commit infanticide, they will come.
Mm-hmm.
So while the inbred Peacock brothers are taking what I assume is one of their
That's why
half-brothers.
Waterworld was such a box office disappointment. He had nowhere to bury that baby. It would just float.
There's no land. All he could hope for was to give the infant to that little girl from the Seal movie. Not Kiss from a Rose.
Okay, I was gonna say
no, not that Seal. There was a movie that same little actress girl was in that my sister loved in the 90s. It was like perpetually rented in our house. Where that girl, she like went to some sort of SeaWorld pastiche and played with seals. That was a movie that she was in.
Was it called Blackfish?
Yes. But no, they're carrying out this dead infant, and in syndication they took it out so that it could fly by.
I apologize,
with TV-14.
Thingster. By the way, I apologize to Thingster.
I don't. But when they originally aired it, it earned the TVMA rating because as they're carrying it out and burying it, it was crying. They played a baby's cries. So apparently, killing an inbred baby on screen is TVMA worthy. Simply burying a baby that you killed off screen, that's TV-14.
America.
So
anyway, to answer your question, Thingster, I think we would like to see an arcade game where you bury an inbred baby.
That's really what we were getting around to, yeah. No, I like the... I'm glad that you reminded us of this, and I hope that it's a little bit more involved than Klungo Saves the World, but I hope it's sort of along those lines. I don't want them to get too complicated with this, because I don't want to see like a Donkey Kong Country reference. I would like old single button style gameplay. There's a lot of elegance to be found in arcade style games, and I feel like
maybe something like Custer's Revenge,
exactly, or E.T. the game. There's a lot of while these guys are expert at more modern, complex gameplay and game design, I would imagine that they've got to have some fantastic old school concepts rattling around in their brains that they've just never had an opportunity to execute. And that's what really excites me about this stretch goal. It's something nobody asked for, but they've volunteered up. And that tells me that they've got some really cool ideas.
Or they could just license Pong.
They could it's just Pong with the ball moving slightly faster in every stage.
And the paddle slightly smaller.
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't want them to lean on anything existing too heavily. I really look
I'm always
forward
up for a
to-
good game of Breakout. I love a Breakout.
Breakout's good. The best thing in Breakout is like scratching that itch when you can get the ball around the side, and so it's just bouncing across the ceiling and taking out all the blocks. Oh, that's the best.
On iPod Classics, there's the game Vortex.
Mm-hmm.
That's just basically a 3D version of Breakout. I love that.
Ooh, how do you see the ball when it goes behind the blocks if it's in 3D?
I mean, it bounces. It's all like circular. Look up Vortex. It's a really it's a good game.
Okay,
It's fun.
It reminds me of that of like that Virtual Boy title where I forget what it's called. Like Red Alert, was that a
the one that was kind of like Star Fox but not Star Fox?
Sorta. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Yeah.
Anyway, I've wasted many hours playing Vortex on the toilet, so there you go.
You should check out Alto's Adventure. That is a fantastic toilet time wasting game for the iOS.
Well, anything that helps my bowel movements. I think I suffer from IBS, and I'm spending a lot of time in the toilet. Thanks for the call, Thingster.
Yeah, that's ultimately what Thingster was asking about.
Yeah. So, any advice how to calm my nervous tummy? I would really appreciate it. Next time, Thingster. Next time.
Jesus Christ, let's move on.
All right.
Hey, this is Tom Malicious, and I just had a simple question. Given last year when Cranky Kong was made playable in Tropical Freeze, what would you like to see if Cranky Kong were in the future then given his own game? Thank you, have a good day.
Short and sweet. I think more callers could learn from Tom Malicious.
Short and sweet, just like Tom Malicious's stage show at the I don't know, the Oiled Man Bear.
What are you going for here?
Tom Malicious just sounds like a male stripper name, right?
Oh, okay.
And the best male strip club I could come up with on the spot was the Oiled Man Bear.
Pig.
Oh, that's right. Fuck it. You know that episode was just them like saying global warming doesn't exist, right?
No, that episode was them saying it's unfortunate that a douchebag of the caliber of Al Gore is the one putting forth this message. I don't think it was a commentary on global warming so much as
it was a commentary on global warming. It was.
I think it was more them just being sick of Al Gore. That's really the takeaway for me on that episode.
Okay,
it's like the whole thing is because ultimately Man Bear Pig was a real thing in the South Park universe.
No, he was from Imagination Land.
Imagination Land.
He didn't really exist. He was just in part of the greater imagination that Al Gore contributed to Imagination Land.
You know, it would have been really great if not only Man Bear Pig but global warming came out of Imagination Land in that 3-parter. And that's
global warming's a serious problem. Like I'm tired of people dismissing it. Climate change. What?
No one's dismissing it, dude. It's a cartoon show with cutout people.
Yeah,
no one's dismissing global warming. The scientific community has said its piece.
And by the way, when did Al? Yeah, like that's really doing a lot of good, though. I mean, God, we're just fiddling while Rome burns.
Dude, did you see this? Did you see this Elon Musk thing though about the batteries?
No,
Oh, dude. Okay, so there's. All of our listeners should watch this because this is like a legitimate thing that could save the world. There's this presentation that Elon Musk gave.
Because that's what our listeners are looking for.
Anyway, check it out. Like Elon Musk batteries, I forget what they're called, but basically he's created
Duracell.
There are these batteries that until the invention that they've come up with, they couldn't really store enough to, you couldn't run anything during the night on the charge that you would earn during the day. So it was all the battery backup capabilities of like solar panels were always insufficient, but he's found a way around that, and they've also created these giant self-sustaining factories that will create these batteries, all run on solar power. So basically, you could go to the middle of the jungle, build one of these factories that runs on solar power off the grid to create batteries that will then bring electricity and lighting and all of that to villages that have never had it before. No carbon emissions, all solar power. It's fucking mind-blowingly brilliant.
Okay, but tell that to our politicians who are in the pocket of big oil. It's never going to happen. So fuck it. We're doomed. We're doomed.
Mr. Musk is already familiar with politicians.
We're doomed, and Steve Ducey is laughing all the way to the grave.
Yeah, this is why in the state of Texas, Tesla Motors cannot sell cars directly to customers. Yeah. That's illegal now in Texas. You have to go through a dealership. It's fucking batshit.
To shining sea.
Yeah. So anyway,
Tom Malicious, thanks for the call.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, Al Gore when did he ever in real life say cereal? Like, how did that become, they're just, making up bullshit and applying it to Al Gore, and people are like, Al Gore sure is stupid. Fuck South Park, I said it.
You're a ridiculous person.
I'm a proud, ridiculous man, yes.
Okay, so what would you like to see if Cranky had his own game?
Well, you know what? You know what would be a perfect role if you're going to give Cranky a star billing? It would be as the star of Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Mario
that would actually
versus
be appropriate. Kong. It would be so appropriate, and it wouldn't be thematically wrong like Mario versus Donkey Kong is.
As long as they began it with Cranky Kong just destroying the Minis factory. Like let's
kill off
things.
Let's kill off the minis.
Yeah,
and
this
let's
is no longer a Lemmings or a Pipe Mania clone.
Let's get it back to true arcade Donkey Kong style, but with Cranky as the antagonist. I think that would be so great. I would have no qualms with that. I would desperately anticipate each and every iteration of that franchise. So if you're listening, I Am Gibbon, there you go.
Yeah, my idea was similar. I was going to say I would like to see a revisitation to the arcade Donkey Kong, but I guess Mario versus Donkey Kong is pretty much that if you ignore everything past the first one.
Let's get back to the series roots, but let's also make Cranky Kong the star. Let's just get it historically right. You can still have the modern Donkey Kong cameo or factor into it, but he's not going to be this toothy grin jackass obsessed with toys and fucking Pauline.
Yeah. And you know what? Hey, maybe they could even have fun with it and have our Donkey Kong sort of team up with Mario a little bit. If Cranky just goes off the reservation into dictum, maybe Mario and Donkey could both have playable roles in this game. They could have.
There's a lot you could do with it if Nintendo would just be willing to play with their history a bit more. And Donkey Kong, we don't want to confuse people. Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong. Let's not mess with people's heads here.
Yeah. Anyway,
I would also like to see Donkey Kong Country 0, where you see a young Cranky in this shameful platforming adventure he never talked about. But
in the Crimean War,
I think maybe, but I think that level of meta will never happen with Rare under Microsoft and not making Donkey Kong games. I think, as much as I love what Retro has done with the series, especially Tropical Freeze, I don't think they are capable or willing or allowed to go off the reservation as much as Rare was.
Yeah. They're definitely being kept a little bit more closely reined in than Rare was, for good or bad. And I don't want to say that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Well, I wasn't either, but I'm just saying, we have kind of lost a lot of the fourth wall breaking that was so wonderfully absurd in Rare's games.
Yeah,
Blunder Bear talking about the Nintendo Player's Guide.
Sure, I think that some of that though might have just been, especially in Returns, just I think that Retro had some proving themselves to do. And once they did that, they did loosen up a little bit and start asserting themselves more with Tropical Freeze. And if we ever, if the skies opened up and downshined a third Retro Studios DKC game, which is probably not going to happen, unfortunately.
I think it's going to happen, just not. I mean, we're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, well, at least one from Retro Studios.
I'm hoping for Donkey Kong Land returns from Monster Games.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be so sweet.
Yeah, but I'm sure if we ever got that third entry
Donkey
from
Kong 64 2-ish,
they would go a little bit further with, putting their own stamp on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe we can discuss that at a later date.
Perhaps. Well, thank you, Tomalicious.
Thank you, Tomalicious.
Delicious as always.
Tommy, you are the delicious male stripper.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Rob Butler here again. On your last episode, you were talking about your least favorite thing in Donkey Kong Country 2, and I thought maybe you didn't think of the fact that you had to pay coins to save your game in that game.
It's really enthusiastic.
And that if you ever turned off the game, all the coins you had saved up would be lost. That in my experience was probably the most frustrating thing about that game, and I think that's the one improvement that the Game Boy Advance version made. Also, specifically for Chad, I'm kind of curious because I remember what you guys have said about Los Angeles in the past. But Chad, since you've lived both there and New York now, I'm curious which one you think is the more filthy, crime-ridden city. All right, so thank you. Goodbye.
Well, thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob Butler. Rob Butler becoming our snarky butler by saying that we didn't really think through our response to that one question.
Yeah. Also, Rob Butler calling fresh from the veterinarian where his beloved childhood dog was put down.
Yeah.
A little energy, Rob. No, thank you for the call.
Yeah, so,
yeah, I think that is a legitimate criticism of Donkey Kong Country 2.
Well, here's the thing,
coins.
though.
But
here's the thing.
It never really bothered me that much.
Historical context, it really wasn't that big of a deal when you played it because you were accustomed to losing all that stuff when you restarted. Like, that stuff was the stuff that was the reason you didn't want to get a game over, because you would lose all that stuff. That's when game overs actually meant something. No, you wouldn't have to start from the beginning.
Yes, but it was the same thing if it wasn't a game over, but you just stopped playing and started again. So I can see the issue there.
That's still incentive to keep playing. Like, yeah. Nowadays it seems like so draining. But when you're a kid and it's 1995, and that's what you're accustomed to, it wasn't a big deal at all.
You know, it's funny. I never had a problem with that mechanic in Majora's Mask. When you reset the time, you know, you lose your bombs, you lose your arrows. If you don't bank your rupees, you lose them too. To me, that just kind of harkened back to these games. So I wasn't bothered, but apparently people threw shit fits online about it.
People got pampered and babied really quick when it came. We are turning into Cranky Kong. You do realize, like,
oh yeah,
well, back in our day, games were harder.
Yeah, it happened so gradually we didn't even notice. Much like Steve Ducey starting to work in hardcore porn.
Wait, when did that happen? Oh, I didn't even notice.
It was an extrapolation of a Simpsons reference.
Oh, but Steve Ducey? I don't know. Does he drop a deuce?
They said Fox. Remember?
Oh, okay. I was going to say, does he drop a deucey in these videos?
That's his German counterpart.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's a legitimate negative about the game.
Yeah, but I still want to. I think because we're old folk, we wouldn't ever consider that a legitimate negative about the game. It's just more like when replaying it in 2015. It's like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Here's my legitimate complaint about Donkey Kong Country 2. In the Bramble section of Animal Antics, there's a DK barrel right past that segment where you have to fly squawks through all the flitters. So if you want to, you can just barrel right through it and then get the DK barrel again without even destroying them.
Unless you're only down to one hit, and then
and
then getting that DK barrel is a lifesaver for the final Rattly section.
Right. But if you are down to one life, you have no business playing that game. Because if anything, I would say Donkey Kong Country 2 is a failure in that Animal Antics is far too easy. We are superior because we are older. I fucking hate that attitude online of like nostalgia equals superiority. You know?
Well, I mean, we've run into that so many times, especially in the last decade, from like the '80s fans, the NES era.
Right.
They were really like looked down upon us and our games, and still do for that matter. But
that's okay. All the Spectrum fans look down on them.
Yeah, and I guess that's true. And then before that, it's Pong and.
D&D maybe. I guess we're getting into pre-video game territory now.
D&D. Well, video games, commercial video games, I guess you could say. The video games as a concept, I think, have been around since the late '60s. They just haven't been available. Kind of like the internet wasn't really a thing until the mid '90s, even though it was around for long before that.
I would love to see the video games that ARPA was designing in the '60s, because they were.
That's actually what the moon landing was.
that was their first release title, was putting Neil Armstrong on that soundstage.
Yeah, exactly.
That must be what inspired the Lunar Lander arcade game.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Now, Mr. Butler, our wise butler here, who gives us advice, is now turning to us for our opinion, because he wants to know specifically from you, because you've lived in both.
Right.
What is the more filthy and crime-ridden city, L.A. or NYC?
Well, I'll say this. I was miserable in Los Angeles for the 3 years I lived there. I haven't really been quite so miserable in New York. Maybe it's just a different style of city, but I will also say, if we're talking crime-ridden, I was mugged twice in my first year of living in Los Angeles. I have been mugged 0 times in my first year of living in New York. And it's fairly analogous, because in L.A., first place I lived was South Central. New York, I'm currently living in Bed-Stuy. Both notoriously unfriendly neighborhoods to an outside suburban element, but I'm getting by just fine in New York and quite enjoying myself. So I would say New York is far superior to LA. It's definitely filthy. LA's filthy too. You just get that with a big city though. There's very little avoiding it unless you're like San Francisco, and the cost of living is so exorbitant, and because they tax everyone to keep the streets clean. I was in San Francisco about a year ago, and I was shocked at how like sparkly and pristine everything is. Hyle, have you ever been to San Francisco?
I visited every Friday night on TGIF.
That's right. Everywhere you look. No, it is gorgeous. It's a disgustingly well manicured city. It's insane to think that it's like a mere 200 miles north of the cesspool that is Los Angeles.
A mere 200 miles. Do you realize how far 200 miles actually is, Chad?
Yeah, 200 miles is basically like a generation's worth of a distance for people who are coming west.
Yeah, that's the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
You can get dysteria and die there, on the 200 miles from LA to San Francisco.
Yeah. Speaking of old school gaming classics.
Yeah. The thing I'll say, I've never lived in New York City. I've been there, but I've never lived. But I will say that I think one element that is more appealing for Los Angeles in LA's defense is that you have to have a car there, so it's much easier to escape Los Angeles.
Oh, that's a good point because we had a car here for the first half year we lived here because I was working on Long Island and there's no good public transit out that direction, at least one that wouldn't take me 2 hours every day to get there. Most of the time it was just 2 hours in traffic in my car. But having sold the car, we are starting to get a little stir crazy. Like New York has just become our existence.
And I feel like New York, it becomes that trap where people never escape, and you get entire generations who never leave the city borders because it is just an island, and you're kind of just secluded by these huge buildings, these skyscrapers. And
I always thought that was kind of a funny character note for Charlie Kelly on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like he's never left Philadelphia. But I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. But of course, he's just a weirdo. No, it's very easy to fall into that if you don't have reliable transportation.
And as somebody who loves and craves and needs some nature in his life, that's where L.A. is the most. Remember, I drove us out of L.A. one Saturday, and I took us hiking in the desert, and it was beautiful, and we got sunburned. It was terrible, but
I caught a newt.
Yeah, you let the newt go. You didn't eat him.
No, I kept his eyes for my brew.
Well, I mean, you've got to have some brew. I mean,
yeah.
That's how you get people to do what you want, and that's how you eventually landed a wife.
If it were up to me, the brew would be nothing but newt eye.
So anyway, so that's where I'd give LA. That's where I'd give LA the benefit of the doubt, and that it's easier to escape.
Yeah. Well, I haven't felt the desire to escape New York yet, so perhaps it's somewhat of a moot point. But
you said
anyway,
you're going stir crazy.
I'm starting to feel the first itches of stir craziness.
Okay, so in a year you're going to be clawing your eyes out.
Yeah, ask me in a year.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being the show's loyal butler.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being a friend.
Next call.
All right, lads. Say here. Sorry, last time I rang, I didn't leave my name, so you started calling me Missing No. Thanks for that, you cunts. Right, I was just wondering, it's a bit of an idea and a question all in one. Obviously, we've all talked about what we'd like to see for the next Donkey Kong Country game, if Retro does make a third one. I was just wondering, what would, all jokes aside, no pissing about, no Baja Blast or whatever, what would you actually like to see, story-wise, thematically, in terms of new level archetypes? What kind of setup would you like? What would you like to see come next, really? See, I got my own idea the other day. I was watching BTTF2, and when Marty goes back to the 50s and he's crossing over with scenes from the first film, obviously very well done, great film, not as good as the first, but really good film. That idea in particular has always stuck with me. I love the ideas of a game or film or TV series revisiting old events. Lost did it really well, obviously. Well, not as well as they could have done, but that's for another story. So I had the idea of I don't know if this would be too ambitious for retro, or if they wouldn't want this much of a tie-in to the SNES games. But if they sort of had perhaps like a huge time travel plot, whether it was led by a new character or K. Rool, whatever, preferably K. Rool, perhaps kind of like Sonic Generations, where he wants to redo, sort of fix his old mistakes or something. But perhaps just instead of where Generations focused on the whole franchise, perhaps just focus solely on the DKC trilogy for the SNES, or possibly even just DKC2. Like the idea of travelling back in time and sort of crossing paths with Diddy and Dixie on Crocodile Isle. In fact, yeah, fuck it, I've just thought, because the Kremlin life force was destroyed at the end, maybe to rebuild his army, K. Rool thinks, alright lads, let's just fucking go and stop myself destroying the life force. So yeah, he creates a portal to the DKC2 era. So I'm guessing the cast from Tropical Freeze, maybe plus a new one, maybe they'll replace Cranky with someone, well, whoever you're playing as. Let's just say Donkey Diddy Dixie for now. You sort of go back in time and you cross over with, you go to Crocodile Isle, and perhaps in some levels you could see Diddy and Dixie in the background.
Yeah. I think that his call hit the 3-minute mark.
Oh, okay. I thought he just got so excited that he passed out. he fainted like a dainty Victorian lady.
I love the idea, and by the way, I think that call that idea is brilliant. Thank you, Say.
Thank you, Say. Yeah, thank you. Not Missy No. Say.
Right. I like the idea that the dialogue he proposed would be taken verbatim in the game. Like in the opening cutscene, K. Rool gathers his entire army around and says, and I quote, "All right, lads, let's go back in time and stop me destroying the Kremlin life force." Like just admitting that he resigned his entire species to one more generation of Kremlings. He's like, all right, let's go back and do it.
Because if K. Rool's anything, he's reasoned and rational.
So
I think this is funny because we just were saying, maybe we'll talk about what we'd like to see in a Donkey Kong Country game another day, and here we are, another day. Yeah, I like that idea, Say, and it would be a great way to relive elements that are kind of closed off, like Crocodile Isle. Having a time travel plot is definitely something I mentioned on a show. I think Jeff Onen as well has brought it up, not on this show, but on the forum, that he'd like to see a time travel Donkey Kong Country game. I think time travel and space are two of the themes that still really haven't been explored by Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Well, I mean, space never really works, but I mean, we've gone into space in Diddy Kong Racing, in Duck Kong Jungle Beat, in Barrel Blast,
Jungle Climber.
So, I mean, it has been explored, but not really.
Donkey Kong Country Returns.
You know what I mean, though. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really work, I don't think, with Donkey Kong, but I think it would be. It's not impossible to get right. Anyway, back to Say's point. Yeah, that's a cool idea, and I really like it. What would we like to see? Well, Chad?
Well, I want to elaborate a little bit on why I think his idea is great, and I don't know that I would add much to it. But you know how cool we thought it was in World 6 of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where you saw the return stages just further in the background. I think that the brilliance of Say's idea, especially when he said, "Oh fuck it, no, I've just got it," where like you would see like Dixie and Kitty or Diddy and Dixie in the background of stages as you're playing them through. That's taking the concept to a totally different level, and perhaps AI could even be programmed
or to the same levels.
To a totally different level that's slightly in front of the same level.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they could even potentially like program the AI of those Kongs in the background so that they're more or less always on the same viewport as you. You know, like they wouldn't follow your actions on an exact 1-to-1, but they could be programmed to stay at a similar pace as you. And something like that would be so fucking cool if it was basically revealing that had the SNES had the power to do so, the camera pulled out a little bit, you would have seen this other timey-wimey adventure going on. That would be really fucking bad.
It'd also be really cool if Donkey Kong's mom tried to fuck him. But it's wrinkly, and that would be even more awkward considering that she should know in Donkey Kong Country 2 era that this is still her son, even though he's from 20 years in the future.
No, it's Calvin Klein.
What?
Sorry. So, Donkey Klein.
Oh,
so,
you mean
Clint
Eastwood.
What, Clint Eastwood?
From Back to the Future 3. That was his name in Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh, sure, yeah, but in Back to the Future Part 1, he was Calvin Klein.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what are you correcting me for? We're both right.
I just prefer the Clint Eastwood joke over Calvin Klein.
Really? You prefer Back to the Future 3 over the first movie?
I said I preferred the joke. I didn't say I preferred the movie.
Okay, all right. Did he have a a pop culture reference fake name in Part 2? I don't think he did.
He went by he disguised himself as his own son, but that's about it.
Yeah. McFly. So racist in the 80s. Like you look at what was that John Hughes movie where was it Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles where they had like the Asian guy who was the most offensive stereotype?
Yeah, his name was like what?
It was like Ching Chong Ding Dong. It was something It was like you think that's horribly offensive. It was that offensive. And that was a mainstream hit that a lot of people remember fondly.
Wait, so how does that apply to Back to the Future?
Oh, the McFly, in the future. Because I was thinking of that scene where he basically meets his future son and sort of assumes his identity. It's in the house when he gets fired by his stereotypically Asian boss.
Well, but the joke there was that in 2015, the Japanese will own us all.
No, now they just own our hobbies, like Nintendo.
Yeah, so see Back to the Future Part 2, you got it wrong. I bet you feel ashamed.
Yeah, we're only up to 12 Jawses by now.
Although that movie took place in October 2015, so we could still technically get to that point where the Japanese own us. There's still time.
I think their failing was just in calling it Jaws instead of Sharknado.
Yeah, because we're definitely going to be up to Sharknado 32 by October.
They're getting close.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. I mean, definitely want to see the Kremlings back. I'd like to see it tie into Returns and Tropical Freeze a little bit. We could go with time travel. I don't really care. I just want. I think I've already mentioned my criteria. I would want a lot more animal buddies, at least 5. I would want more Kong helpers on the map screen.
Yeah. The only other possibility, and I think I've talked about it on the show at some point in the past 3 years, that my childhood dream DKC game would be the animal buddies are hypnotized and turn into the bosses that you fight at the end of every world. And as soon as you fight them, you basically knock them back to normal consciousness, and then you can use them through the rest of the game.
So what Returns should have been.
Exactly what Returns should have been. Yes. That would be my dream DKC plot / underpinning gameplay mechanic, gimmick, if you will. But I love the time travel idea. I think that's fantastic, Say.
If we were to use your idea, I would want it so that maybe K. Rool has stolen the hollowed out husk of Tiki Tong or one of the Tiki Tak tribe members and is using that to hypnotize the animal buddies. He's doing the hypnotizing plot they did, but he's doing it where it hits closer to home because he knows the Kongs on a personal level. So he's brainwashing their animal buddies that are most dear to their heart.
Oh, that could be an awesome opening cinema where he uncovers he climbs up to the volcano and finds the husk of Tiki Tongs or scattered bananas
or Kalimba and you see the Kalimba mask and it's brainwashing Rambi and then and
then he turns to his army and he holds it aloft and says, "All right, lads, let's let's brainwash these animal buddies so they stop helping the Kongs."
I think this would be, an appropriately devious way to get back at my sworn enemies.
Yeah, sounds all right. Yeah. Let's go do that. Stop.
Retro Monster, give us a call, why don't you? Huh?
Well,
give Say a call too, because it was his idea.
It was his idea.
The time travel one was.
Yeah, the Animal Buddy one's all mine.
Yeah,
Copyright Chad McCanna, 1996 letter to Nintendo Power Magazine.
Really? Did they ever print it?
No, I think it was an email on the Nintendo Power source that I sent, and they said, "Thank you for your interest in Nintendo."
Oh, okay. And then it said, "P.S. Who is this Dixie Kong? Surely you mean Daisy Kong."
Right. P.P.S. We're using your idea without credit. Fuck off.
Well, that about does it for the calls. About 2 hours into the episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just do like a sort of a bullet points style Yooka-Laylee update, so we can justify putting that on our album artwork as clickbait.
Yeah, so you've set through 2 hours of the show. Now it's time to get to the main topic. People will love it.
Trouser the Snake. So a few new characters.
They've revealed a few new characters over the past couple weeks. Trouser the Snake is the big one, no pun intended.
And I love it. I love the design. It's basically, if you haven't seen it, and if you're listening to the show and you haven't seen it, you ought to look on the internet once in a while. He's basically I think he is he a salesman? Is that his function in the game?
He's a businessman. I think he's a shoddy salesman of some sort.
He's got a giant, like, old school Zach Morris brick phone. He's got he's wearing a hat. He seems to have one eye closed, although Steve Mails assures us that he's not a one-eyed trouser snake.
No, of course not. Just like they never put a penis in Banjo-Tooie.
Right, that was pure coincidence. Of course not. He's also I love he's wearing trousers and he's got like one end of his snake tail looping back up into the other, so I'm assuming he's going to be bouncing around a la Ratley. So which is also designed by this team. So I love everything about Trouser the Snake.
And of course it finally allows rare team members or former rare team members to make a joke they tried to make, and it's Mr. Pants, where they're gonna have the pants snake or the trouser snake. I forgot.
It was going to be the pants snake.
The pants snake.
I mean everything. Ella Pants, Pluto Pants. It was going to be the pants snake, and
THQ actually objected to that, so they had to change it to the crayon snake. So
crayon snake. Yeah, and you can tell. And we talked about this on our It's Mr. Pants Spotlight. If you read the instruction manual, you can tell that was a last-minute change, because even that text refers to it as my crayon snake. Yeah. It's my crayon snake. Yeah, there's you know where they were going with that one.
Yeah. So, I love this, and we don't really know what his function is going to be, if he's just going to be a mindless idiot who asks for your help, or if he's going to be more like a Bottles or a Mumbo, where he's some, known associate of Yooka-Laylee, but...
I'm guessing known associate. He seems like he's got something of import to do in the game.
Maybe he runs a shop, or he's like a traveling salesman, and he'll sell you items.
Yeah. Anyway, he seems like a great character, or at least from a design point of view.
He's a ridiculous character, which we love. I mean, this is the kind of character that... This is like the Rare team designing a character fully knowing that it's going to be embraced by weirdos like us.
Exactly, yeah. And also fully knowing that there's not going to be any PR people telling them no. They can basically.
That's the great thing about being freelance at this point. You can do what you want.
Yeah. The only concession that they might possibly have to make is in their own game's rating, and we know now that they're shooting for an E10. So I think Trouser the Snake, if they keep it, if they leave the innuendo at that level, just the name. And possibly having him...
Well, the thing is, do they even refer to him as Trouser the Snake, or are we adding the snake as a... Well, of course.
I think we might be adding it. I'm not sure. I think they...
So if they just call him Trouser, they can get away with it, no problem, with the ESRB and other rating systems around the globe. But, yeah.
Peggy M.
The only other one we know.
Yeah, Peggy and ESRB, and... Is probably something else.
Peggy really shouldn't get all, high and mighty if they name their rating system after doing a man in the ass with a dildo.
Strap on, Hyle. Strap on.
Well, I mean, a strap-on is essentially a dildo with, some rope attached to it. So.
Yeah, but the action of a second party humping the man, I think, is central to the whole pegging.
Right. I'm just saying you could technically take a dildo and like glue it onto yourself and still hump away, and it applies as pegging.
Oh, but I think in doing that, you have now converted said dildo into a strap-on.
But if it's not strapped, what if it's glued on and not strapped on? That's a misnomer, Chad. I mean,
semantics, sir. Ghost Riders are also a new thing that we talked about earlier in the show.
Ghost Riders, gee, we could really use those
for this show. Yeah. Let's get Jamal, the protagonist from the PBS show Ghost Rider, to.
I never watched that show.
You never watched? I was so into Ghost Rider. It was a ghost that helped kids solve mysteries.
Here's
through
the thing.
Power of the written word.
I'm what, like a year and a half older than you?
Yeah, about that.
So I think I was out of PBS when Ghost Rider premiered, and you were right around the right age for it, right around the time you were going to get out of PBS, but you still got hooked by Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and I was a fucking nerd, so a show like Ghost Rider would be one that appealed to me. I was still watching PBS for Bill Nye, though, well into like junior high. I fucking loved Bill Nye.
Well, maybe that's it too. Yeah, I like Bill Nye, but they showed us Bill Nye in school, so I didn't need to go out of my way to watch Bill Nye at home.
Yeah, they wheeled in that industrial cart with the giant CRT on it.
By the way, I love that Bill Nye is now like an advocate for like science knowledge, and like he's like warning us about climate change and trying to like say, fight the politics behind it.
He's the anti-South Park.
Yeah, I know. I love Bill Nye. Fuck South Park.
Don't say fuck South. That's a good show. Fuck you. Whatever. I'm a Matt and Trey fanboy, and I will wear that badge proudly.
That's fine. Anyway, so they gave us Josh Gad, and they gave us climate change denial. So fuck them.
I would love to see Josh Gad in a stage performance of Book of Mormon. I've seen the show twice, and I've had the same Elder Cunningham both times, and unfortunately, neither was Josh Gad. I love Book of Mormon, by the way. Have I mentioned that? I think
you have. Yeah.
If it tours through your city, go fucking see it. It's probably outside video games. It's my favorite piece of entertainment. I am entertained to no end by the Book of Mormon.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So there was some new artwork that we've got to see. Actually,
the Ghost Riders.
Oh, we talked about the.
Oh yeah, they're like Jinjos. But the cool thing, story-wise, though, what I'm really intrigued by the Ghost Riders, and I mentioned that I'm not really sold on the whole idea of the worlds being books. Like I felt like that was betraying what Rare did so well and still does so well, which is creating realistic, natural worlds. The reason Nuts and Bolts just doesn't sit right with me, in that all the worlds, sans the overworld, are artificial. But this really puts a spin on that concept and makes me intrigued by it and excited about it for the first time.
Why is that, Hyle?
Well, Chad McCanna of DK Vine, Ghost Rider
from off of DK
from
Vine.
Off of DK Vine. Well, Charles Chadwick McCanna from off of DK Vine. I like the Ghost Riders because they are the murdered spirits of the authors of these books.
You don't know that.
That's what it said.
Does it really? Does it?
Yeah. That's the way they pitched them to us.
Oh, see, maybe I just didn't read that article. See, whereas I go to the Kickstarter and read that, you read the articles on the site. And between the two of us, we can actually do our journalistic diligence.
So you get half the story on the Facebook page, you get half the story on the Twitter page.
And nobody's happy.
Right. So if you actually visited the Platonic site and Kickstarter, you get the full story. Anyway.
Yeah, but that would be cutting out the middleman, and you don't want to do that because then you can't get our hilarious layer of snark, and everyone needs that. Don't go straight to Platonic. Go through us, please.
Go through us first. We'll let you know when Platonic has something worthy of mentioning. Anyway,
50% at a time.
Yeah, the Ghost Riders are the writers of the books.
Okay.
And they died under mysterious circumstances.
No, and I love that because that tells us that there is a world outside these books.
Yeah, and they were forced to haunt their own stories. That's another.
That's dark. That is fucking dark.
Yeah, I love it though, and that kind of sells me on the whole concept. And it's like, okay, I can't wait to see where this is going. Obviously, there's a larger story to tell here, other than this is how we're structuring the gameplay. They're gonna really, I think, hit it out of the park. So
everything about this game,
hit it out of the park where the buried inbred fetuses are.
right. The notion
hashtag
of them not...
Kevin Costner is a baby murderer.
That's a nice hashtag.
Thank you. It's going to be trending. It's going to be trending really soon.
Yeah. The overall notion that these guys need to be like armchair quarterbacked, it's...
We're not saying that though.
No. But we're saying the exact opposite, that we trust that they're going to do something great with it. But you see people like nitpicking everything they do. To me, maybe it's going to be yet another example of fanboydom, but I feel like these guys, this collection of video game professionals, have earned all the benefit of the doubt that anyone could possibly earn, especially when they're doing something in this genre. I mean, if they said they're going to make a real-time strategy online game, yeah, maybe we could turn a skeptical eye to some of their decisions, but they're making a platformer. They're making a 3D platformer. These are the people who perfected that genre. We have no reason to do anything but be anticipatory and excited for what's going to come out of Playtonic. I even if I don't fully understand their decisions, I'm going to assume that they have a very good, intelligent, thought-out reason for making those decisions, and I'm kind of done nitpicking. I'm just excited to see everything bereft of context, if they're just giving us some sort of weird update, or within context once we get the game. Both are fun, and I'm pretty confident both are going to be phenomenal.
To be fair, I don't think we ever nitpick this game. I think when you have...
No, but there are people who are.
Okay, but I'm just saying
to.
we're going to be discussing it and sharing our opinions as we learn more things. So it may come across as nitpicking occasionally, but when you have a show to fill every week, you're going to have to discuss things as they break before you're able to fully digest what's happening. So
yeah, I'm just saying that like I really, if I take a step back, I mean, yeah, on a granular level, I mean, I may nitpick like, oh well, hey, those Ghost Riders seem a little weird. I don't quite understand that, but I'm secure enough to understand that the Playtonic guys probably have way better ideas than I do, and there are reasons for the decisions they have made, and I'm comfortable in that. I can just let them do their thing and be satisfied with my temporary confusion, knowing that it's going to result in a phenomenal game.
Well said. I'm secure enough in that as well. And my sexuality.
Yeah, that too. Hashtag no homo.
That's not a hashtag I'm ever going to use.
No, me neither. No. Yeah, we might have new listeners.
and like maybe if we were running like Entourage,
oh Jesus,
or something.
They're making a movie. I saw a trailer.
They're
for this
making
thing
a movie. It's made. It's out in theaters now.
Oh God,
go see Entourage.
I saw it on the front of Mad Max, and just I mean, I never watched Entourage, but it reeks.
Oh, bro, you got to watch Entourage,
bro. Yeah, bro. It reeks of this sort of like frat boy douchedom that I thought that with the advent of like with the kind of ubiquity of everything at Comic-Con, like the quote unquote the victory of the nerds, I would think that the audience for something like Entourage would be so diminished they would never even think of revisiting
that's
that
why
franchise.
it's so weird. This is like the equivalent of the X-Files. I Want to Believe. It's coming out at a time when nobody gives a shit.
Right. Yeah,
and
it was really just a paycheck for Marky Mark.
See, the thing is, 2004, like Entourage could have been big. It was big because like douchey frat boys were like in the mainstream, but now that we've been illuminated to the horrors of campus rape,
all of which is a result of Entourage.
Yeah. Entourage is now revealed to be the villain of HBO.
Well, that was the central defense in the Duke University trials. Was I saw Turtle do it?
Right. Also, with the Duggars, Josh Duggar.
Oh, God, what a fucking disgusting story.
Yeah.
Let's not even. Jesus Christ, that's horrifying.
But Josh Duggar's defense was, I saw it on Entourage.
And Jeremy Piven.
I saw Ari Gold fingering his 5-year-old sister.
Oh, dude. That's a disturbing sentence that you just said. Ugh.
We'll put it on a T-shirt and we'll give it out. All proceeds will go to charity.
I have just like a visceral disgusted reaction to the whole Duggar story. Let's just move on from that, please.
Well, they're a disgusting fit. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sure one of them listens. There's like enough of them at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. The odds are in our favor, really.
We've got 19 listeners and counting. So anyway, as you tried to mention before I interrupted you, there's new artwork that came out on Friday. A new wallpaper. Is wallpaper still a thing?
Well, I don't think this qualifies as a wallpaper, considering it's like vertically oriented. But
yeah, but I think they called it wallpaper in either like the Kickstarter email or somewhere. Maybe I don't know. But yeah. I was like, is wallpaper still a term that people use? I don't think it is.
Might be. I don't know. Maybe it's just a term that they use because it's a nostalgic throwback.
Maybe it is. All right. So anyway, this is Yooka-Laylee sitting in a swampy-like environment,
which we have seen before. Actually,
yes, we have.
But now there's a Yooka-Laylee render of the two of them of Yooka sitting down, and this looks like I'm assuming Steve Mails took that render and painted over it. But it fits well in the aesthetic of this painting. What I think is really interesting about this, though, is that it features what looks like the same tree that's seen in some of their other key art, like the that ice world. It's like a glacial thing, and there's ice coming off of the tree. And if you look at the tree in this new swamp art, there's a layer of dead bark that's kind of peeled away that seems to have these red like rune style writing on it. So I think that this tree, whatever it is going to be very central to the game, and we might,
or at least to this one world.
Well, I'm saying we've seen it in a swamp. We've seen it in the ice world artwork.
Okay.
I'm thinking that perhaps, if you're jumping from book to book to book, maybe this tree is like the middle part of that 8-part Venn diagram. Like this tree, all those books cross over into. So that's just a theory of mine, but it seems like there's some larger significance to this tree.
Or maybe it's just a tree.
Maybe it's a tree that he just did something clever with as an artistic bit of world building that need not be explained further. Also possible.
What interested me is that there's trash in the water. Bum bum bum.
Yeah,
bum,
they've
bum,
got
bum, bum, trash in the water.
Yeah, in the deep purple depths of this artwork, there is there's a VLC media player logo, and there's an overturned shopping cart,
and there's a traffic cone.
That's the VLC media player logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're not a Mac guy. Yeah, you don't know. Do they have VLC on VLC is the best player for Mac users. It does everything.
Oh, I went to the free clinic to get rid of my VLC.
as well you should. You can be very contagious if you don't get that treated.
That's right.
There's also
I could start buying Macs.
Yeah, you might wind up in the zombie army of Steve Jobs. Dude. You don't watch Game of Thrones. I wanted to talk about a zombie army, but
the White Walkers.
Yeah, man. Oh God, it was so good.
I've heard the rumblings.
Oh, dude. Okay,
I'm just gonna marathon Game of Thrones when it's over, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
Look, I don't want to pay for HBO Go, so fuck off.
Oh, see, I remember Eric Klein, the second Elvis on Elvis and Slick Monty?
Yes, I remember Eric Klein, the second Elvis from Elvis and Slick Monty. I tried to get him to drink from a gasoline pump, and he refused to do it.
Hey, in fairness, that was my joke that he refused to do.
I wrote that joke for Greenporn City.
No, I wrote that joke for Greenporn City.
I wrote that joke for you always do this with Greenporn City.
Oh, the good ones are all mine. The
Yeah,
bad ones are all yours.
yeah. That's the way it always shakes out. No, I swear to God, this is an idea I had for. Okay, never mind. All right,
whatever. Anyway, Eric Klein. I still keep in touch with him, and he loaned me his HBO Go account, so that's how I watch Game of Thrones.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm interested. Why is there this garbage in the water? Why? What's going on here?
Good question. It might be because there's going to be some sort of Super Mario Sunshine mechanic. We can only hope.
Or maybe it's just going to be what Rare always does and have the villains be toxic polluters, while our heroes are like noble ecologists.
That's fine. Hey, that's
our heroes. Our heroes are always Bill Nye, and the villains are always Trey and Matt.
Trey. Yeah. I honestly, I don't have a problem with that thematically. It works. It's
at least for this world. At least for this world, maybe if each world takes on a different aesthetic and different theme, who's to say? But
there's also a fish swimming around, a little red fish.
What about the old marble column that the tree is like inside of or growing off of?
Well, I could have moved on to that after discussing the fish, but sure.
Well, I feel like this is more pertinent. I feel like the fish is a good thing to end on.
It looks. I'm assuming this tree is of a taproot and not a fibrous root variety.
Assuming, yes.
Yes, because that taproot would have gone straight down this marble column that's completely submerged. But it seems like there's some old civilization, which I guess sort of lends a little bit of validity to the idea that, or to the notion that this tree has these old runes on ancient bark from that society. So it's kind of cool. Sort of a Banjo-Tooie Atlantis vibe underwater there. Which, moving on to the fish, also seems like a very Banjo-Tooie-esque design, but hey, if it's Steve Mails, then there you go.
I was also thinking this fish also resembled things that Retro has designed for Donkey Kong Country, specifically Tropical Freeze. Yeah, Tropical Freeze. It's kind of got that squarish kind of odd-shaped watermelon look to it.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Because it looked familiar, now that I'm thinking of the Banjo-Tooie fish, they all had like big snaggle teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
This one does look a lot more like the Tropical Freeze fish.
Yeah.
So anyway, check it out on Playtonic's
and
site.
we know they play Tropical Freeze, so I'm just saying.
Enough to rip off everything that game had to offer. What hacks! We should be so skeptical of Yooka-Laylee's success.
I'm gonna armchair or quarterback everything this game does. From here on out, they better heed our advice, or else I'm gonna complain loudly on the internet.
I also hope armchair quarterback is a phrase that makes sense in this context. I really don't know.
Sport.
The thrill of sport.
I really hope one day we get to host one of the time slots for Sports Center, just because I feel like it would be hilarious to see two guys who know nothing about sporting to go at it.
I would just do Keith Olbermann impressions. That'd be all I could think to do if we ever got that gig.
But Keith Olbermann from Countdown, not from Sports Center.
Right. This guy was the worst linebacker in the world.
Actually, he does do that segment. He's returned to ESPN now, and he does do that. He does the worst sports person in the world.
Oh my God! Okay, so this explains it. I was in the gym the other day, and I usually listen to podcasts, but they have the TV running, and I saw Keith Olbermann doing what looked like a worst person segment, and I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, he does it, but he says at the beginning, this is just a joke. Don't take it seriously.
He has a disclaimer.
Yes,
boo,
but he does it. He does it half-heartedly, like he's being forced to read it.
He's kind of a jackass.
He's a major league jackass, but he's also he can also be hilarious and on point when he's less manic.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've heard from the ditto head Hyle, there was also a Reddit Ask Me Anything, but this episode,
my God, are we really going to discuss all this?
No. Well, there's a lot to cover, and I didn't expect this episode to take this long. So we really shouldn't go through them point by point, but I do want to give a shout out to former and call-in guest on this episode, MF Wolf, who compiled everything from the Reddit Ask Me Anything into a bullet point format. He's also made that available on the DK Vine forum, in the Platonic subforum, in the Ask Me Anything thread.
AMA.
The AMA, he posted a link to the entire rundown. There wasn't anything too substantive, but it was really nice to get some one-on-one interaction, or I guess not one-on-one, but more like 6 on thousands interaction.
Yeah, Ask Me Anythings. I mean, they're great for what they are, but they also get a little crowded for my taste.
Yeah, I mean, I thankfully I'm a lurker on Reddit, and so I knew that for a successful contribution to an Ask Me Anything, you need to get all your questions dumped in there immediately so that they can get as many upvotes as possible.
Yeah,
because that's the only way that the answerers will see them. But anyway, it was a fun read. Nothing really important was debuted. A lot of background on some of their previous games.
Nothing important, but we did find out some cool anecdotes. Like, I love the one where Chris Sutherland during the making of Donkey Kong Country, Chris Sutherland said they had to work like 7 days a week to get it out to Nintendo in time, and on one Saturday morning he overslept and he was awoken with rocks being thrown at his window, like pebbles, I guess. Not like huge boulders, but...
Yeah, he was concussed and dragged into work.
Yeah, and... yeah, he looked out his window and it was who was it? It was
Tim Stamper and Greg Mayles.
Tim Stamper and Greg Mayles, right?
Like,
throwing rocks at his window. Yeah,
that would oh my god! I know that Chris Sutherland, he had been working at Rare for several years. He was on the Battletoads team, and I don't know what he did before that.
He did a Spider-Man game for the Game Boy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
that you insulted when he mentioned it on our show. He said,
insult it.
You said, "Oh, that classic."
Oh, come on. Come on. He laughed.
He nervously chuckled.
He nervously chuckled and said, "This fucking asshole. I was really proud of that Spider-Man game."
That was the defining moment of my career. You
right. That's when I knew I made it. Fuck this guy. I'm never coming on his show again, and I'm gonna tell Andy Robinson to ignore them from now on. No. He basically, like, he had been working there for a while, but this is one of the founders of the place you're employed at.
It's basically your boss coming to throw rocks at your window.
You're like your boss's boss's boss who has gone to your house to drag you into work. I would be so scared about my future employment there. But
no, it sounds fun. Like, and I love from like Greg Mayles and Tim Stamper's perspective. Where's Chris? Let's go throw rocks at his window. Like, right. we have to get this game out to Nintendo in a matter of weeks. Let's throw rocks at his window.
And then they basically chain him to his desk by way of a fast food breakfast. Like, you will sit here and you will eat this greasy, slop, and you will finish debugging Donkey Kong Country.
And it's British fast food, so I can only imagine what that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what they have.
I mean, fish and chips, but I mean...
Yeah, fish and chips. Well, they probably have to have some kind of breakfast. It's also Twycross. So what is there to eat in Twycross other than, like, pub food? I drove through Twycross, and I saw pubs and sheep.
Yeah, maybe they got something from the sheepy shop.
Oh, well, they're by Twycross. They've got a zoo not too far away. They could have gotten some ground up mints from the zoo. You went to the zoo. Yeah. They got a... Sorry, I went into a DKC exposed thing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they actually they slayed a gorilla and they made Chris Stamper eat it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. How does it feel to eat a prototype, fellas?
Oh, anyway,
yeah, I would say go to the forum, check it out.
We also found out a little bit about maybe a certain goldfish in Yooka-Laylee.
Oh yeah, Royston's probably not going to make it in.
But they said he deserves his own game, so
they did also say that every character that shows up in Yooka-Laylee has the potential to be in their own game. Yeah. Anyway, what we'll do is I think we're going to be able to meet up with Grant Kirkhope at E3. So we will we'll ambush him and get him to admit that Chris Sutherland's rapper is a real character, and that'll be that.
We don't want to terrify Grant Kirkhope.
But we do.
You may want to. I have a little something called dignity and respect and shame. I have shame, Chad.
Oh, yeah, that's shame. That'll take you far in life.
So anyway, yeah, we're sorry for wasting everybody's time this week. I think we needed this for our souls because we have a lot of work ahead of us the next week.
Yeah, I got a lot of logos to make that people will hate. You know, it's a hard knock life.
Yeah, you can't really tell that Chad has any chips on his shoulder, can you?
It's new, people. It's new. You're going to dislike something that's new, but eventually you'll grow to accept it. And then when we try to come up with something else that's new 5 years from now, you'll hate that thing.
So anyway, DK Vine's E3 coverage will begin on Friday, this coming Friday, and we are going to be having content every day. The programming note, the Kongversation will not be seen in its regularly scheduled time next Saturday.
Right.
Instead, we will be having a new episode on Sunday and new episodes several days thereafter for E3. So stay tuned, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe on iTunes, join the DK Vine forum, never been a better time to join. E3 2015 is upon us, and we're about to descend upon it. So we get
to finally turn our hashtag on its head. Previously, it was E3 at DK Vine. Now it's DK Vine at E3.
Oh,
what? Yeah, I actually thought that through.
So anyway, actually, Cameron suggested that too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, Cameron and I are just independently brilliant.
I guess you are.
Jesus, I vomited a little in my own mouth saying that.
Yeah, as you should. Anyway, so a lot of things brewing right now. Obviously, we don't know what we're going to see from Nintendo at E3. We have our hopes. Hashtag I believe in Kevin Callahan. We have our fears, aka a Star Fox reboot. But,
hashtag I believe in Miyamoto.
But we know we're going to see a brand new Rare game that's not Connectified, so that's going to be
at least a new Rare game.
And
and we're pretty sure it's going to be there in playable form. So if it is, then we will be able to actually give you some hands-on impressions. That's a crazy thing to say. Oh my god!
Yeah. We're legit, baby. We're legit. So join the forum, subscribe, do everything you have to do to be a part of this. You do not want to miss out. E3 2015.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity to say we're too legit. Now let's quit, and we could end the episode there. But now we can't. How the fuck are we going to figure out a way to end this one?
Well, I think we're just going to have to keep recording. We're going to have to keep going until E3 2015. This is going to be a week-long episode, Chad. And let's just quit.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.